Are you using the wrong fairway wood for your game? I've been testing out the brand new TaylorMade Qi10 Fairway woods, and some of the models don't quite perform how you think. So should there be a different model in your bag to make you play your best? Let's go find out. So I've got all three of the brand new Qi10 Fairway woods here, and it's quite interesting how TaylorMade have categorised them this year. They've kind of moved around with the namings. We've got a Tour model at the top instead of a typical maybe like plus or low spin option, and then we've got the max at the other end, which is one that's meant to be giving you that max forgiveness. Now the big story really here is in the weighting. It's very different throughout the different models, and I think because of that we're going to see a lot of differences in terms of spin, height and flight. So let's start in the middle of the line and see how we get on. So this is the Qi10, and the design in this means this has the most weight at the front of the club head. So this is generally really good for people who maybe still hit down it a little bit with the fairway woods, want to get a good launch, and we're going to see that this is quite different to the max where the weights are completely flipped around and they have that heavy weight in the back. So it's going to be interesting to see the differences. I'm testing this in a 3 wood, so let's see how far I can get this to go. Felt pretty solid. I feel like it feels a slightly more high pitched than we saw with last year's model. What I really liked though is the fact that I've kind of tested myself here on a bit of a downhill lie. The ball's a bit below my feet and it felt really easy to launch, which is a big thing that I think is really important for me when I hit a fairway wood. Probably that is because I fit in that category where I will like kind of hit down and be quite neutral through, so having that weight in the front is going to help. Now we have different depths of faces throughout this range. This sits in the middle, so it's not the shallowest, but it's also not as deep as we see in the Tour model. One massive change you're going to see here is over the ball. This crown is so clean. We don't have that kind of front top line that we used to have in the metal. This is like one sheet of full carbon crown, and it looks really nice. I think this sits fantastic behind the golf ball. So let's take a little look at the data we're seeing here. That carried 195 from a 90 club head speed. My ball speed was 134. It's spinning 4,000s, which is perhaps a little bit high, but this is just a stock setup, so we could change in that. But overall, to be honest, from a first hit from a stock product, I'm pretty happy with that. And what I liked is it was very consistent, especially in like the shot shape, the trajectory of the launch. Like there wasn't much variance between the shots, which obviously with a fairway wood, when you're hitting it off the deck, like having something that's consistent and you feel like you can carry, especially here where we've got like a ravine that we're hitting over, is really important. Let's do a bit of a switch and see what differences we see when we move through. So I'm going to go to the Tour one next. It's just exciting when it says Tour on it, isn't it? Everyone wants to hit it. Now, this has a sliding weight in the bottom, so it's not called LS, low spin, because it's not necessarily low spin. It can be if you want it to be, and that's where this weight comes in. So you can move it either back or forward, and that's going to change the spin in each direction by about 150 to 200 RPMs on average. So you could almost get like a 400 RPM difference in spin from front to back. So if you put the weight all the way back in this, that's when you're going to get the higher spin. If you put all the weight forward, that's when you're going to get lower spin. And that's why this is called Tour, because really this model is all about adjustability. You can change the weights here, we've got swing weight in here, and this is the only model with the adjustable hosel. So lots of adjustability here, and a club that can really be dialed in through custom fit. So definitely one that's worth tweaking with if you know you have like quite unusual specs, or you just want something that's a bit versatile and you can change around. Now what I'm interested to see is here, this has the deepest face, which sometimes is a little bit more intimidating off the deck. So see what the ball flight is going to be like from that, and if I find it as easy to launch. Now this is set in neutral currently, so the spin's just kind of right in the middle of what's possible. I actually felt a little faster off the face. If that's going to translate to carry distance, although it looks like it's pitched pretty similar, I'm not going to lie. 199.6, 200. Basically 5 yards further. It's pretty interesting. The loft is the same in this, so it's not anything to do with that. We have also got a slightly heavier shaft, so it could slightly be to do with that. And also interesting here, the spin's down about 400 RPM, which is definitely helpful, because I think 4,000 probably 4.5, definitely a touch on the high side. Ball speed up to 135. It's a nice little gain. I really feel like this feels like the head weight's a little bit heavier, which I think I quite like. This is also a slightly smaller head than the others, so behind the ball it looks a little bit more compact, which is definitely my preference traditionally. Do feel like I can be a bit more aggressive with this, which is probably what naturally suits me more. Like, I like to grip it and rip it. I'm not really like a 3/4 swing kind of girl. Do you know what I mean? That was so consistent, 199, basically bang on the same carry distance. Ball speed, 136.9. I'd be really interested to see how this came off a little flatter lie as well, because that's getting quick. Quick interlude. If you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It massively helps. And if there's anything else you want to see or any questions you have about these clubs, drop them in the comments below. Let's get back to it. Now, I would say that spin's like a touch on the high side. So what I'm going to do is just slide this weight around, move it to the front, try to get a little bit lower. If you do forget which way you need to go, it does actually say, which is quite helpful. Mid to low 4,000s currently. Let's see how that changes. Quite nicely. Let's see what the spin's like. 4-1, so it's dropped like 400 from my last shot with this. So on average I'm getting like a little bit more carry out of this, probably about 5 yards. A little less spin, like 300 to 400 RPM on average, but definitely a little bit more ball speed. That got up to 137.7, and I was like in the 132s before. So quite a big jump there. I do think I'd probably get more out of it in terms of total distance, potentially with a different shaft. This is quite a low trajectory shaft, and I might kind of optimise more with something that just gets me a little bit more height, because the launch angle is quite low at the moment. But I'm sure we'll get some custom options soon and we'll have a look at that. Right, last up we've got the Max. I do think this model's like the most exciting in this range, just because of the really strong storyline behind this, and obviously that inertia and max forgiveness. Now, this is a different story in the way that all the weight is at the back of this. So this should help people who kind of need to get the ball in the air a little bit more. So if you're someone who needs a little bit more launch, to be fair, I did need a bit more launch on my last one, so maybe it's going to work for me. What I also like is this is a really shallow club head. So behind the golf ball, it just looks really inviting. You don't get that feeling like, oh, am I going to top this into that ravine? So hopefully I don't do that now. That'd be really bad, wouldn't it? I hit them all and then I top the shallow one. And definitely a bit more of an elongated club face, but I think you get away with that bigger shaping because it's not as deep. Oh, that went so high. That was so easy to hit. I love it. To be honest, I feel like I've not lost any distance. I've not. That's gone the furthest. 202 yards. And the thing is, this has a weaker loft as well. Like, this is a degree weaker, which is all part of that story to help you get height if that's what you struggle with fairway woods. Gosh, put it in the bag. Oh, it's consistent as well. Those two balls are like right next to each other. I think that's gone further again. 206 carry, 136 ball speed. Not even my fastest ball speed. Weirdly, the spin's gone down. How is this my lowest spin model? Make it make sense. Now, the face is shallower, so it could be to do with maybe strike location, which is affecting that spin rate. We did see a bit of that in the driver fitting too, so that would make sense. All of those have literally gone in exactly the same direction. I would definitely say this is a little straighter than the other ones in terms of if you're someone who hits a fade and moves it out to the right, I think it's going to help you square the club face up more, because those have finished slightly left of the other two. Honestly, for all my excitement, like, I want to hit the tall one, I want to hit the tall one. This is easily outperforming it at the moment. Obviously, different shafts in all of them, slightly different lofts, very different technologies. Definitely not the numbers I would have predicted. I feel like this has been a bit of a theme with these clubs. Don't necessarily guess what model you're going to fit into before you try them, because honestly I could use any of these, but there's different differences in terms of flight, height, spin, and it might not be what you expect. So go and hit them all, and don't just pick up the tall one because of your ego.